Hello everyone and welcome to another Music of the Month. This is for the month of May 2018, and you might be wondering where the hell is the Fight of the Night review? Well, once again, for the second event in a row, there wasn't a Fight of the Night given, and I thought I wanted to do a video anyway. It's the 2nd of June, and we're not too far into the month, so I may as well do a Music of the Month now. And as always, we do alphabetical order, and there was quite a chunk of stuff released in May. Not as much as there was in April, but still quite a bit, so we're just going to get right into it. As always, we do things in alphabetical order, and the first album that we have to cover is Disobey by Bad Wolves. And for those who know the name Bad Wolves, sorry, that was a bit of something nasty on my laptop there. For those familiar with the name, they might know them best for, you might know them best for their cover of Zombie by the Cranberries, and it's an absolutely amazing cover. Easily in my top 5 of all cover songs. But their own stuff on the rest of the album is actually pretty good. Just solid metalcore, really good supergroup that was put together all from people from varying awesome bands. So yeah, just really enjoyable stuff, and I liked it. Debut album, so I got onto them early. Really happy about that. And next is Bleeding Through with Love Will Kill All, my first Bleeding Through album, and their first since their second reformation, because they sort of came back together in 2016 but didn't really do anything. I think it was 2016 or 2014, but more recently they got back together and released something new. Which is their first album since 2010, if I remember correctly. And once again, just solid metal, like symphonic death metal mixed in as well. Just really good balance of sounds. Really enjoyed it. Neither this or Disobey will probably make my top 10 of the year list, but they're both pretty good albums. So yeah, both really enjoyable. Next is Dream on Dreamer with It Comes and Goes, which I think is their fourth or third album. It's one of those. Yeah, just solid piece of British. I think they're British anyway. Solid piece of work from them. Not as heavy as previous stuff from what I understand, but just nice to nice calming rock music for the most part. Just really good stuff. No, I quite enjoyed it. Next is Five Finger Death Punch with And Justice for None. Probably the first true downer of May, in my opinion. I thought that Got Your Six was boring, but this was even more so. I don't know. I just haven't really felt that same fire for Five Finger Death Punch that I have since The Wrong Side of Heaven, Right Side of Hell. They need to buck up and try to mature a bit more, and they're not really doing that. They're stuck in endless label disputes and infighting, and it needs to stop basically. And I have potential that they can be really good again, but it's just not looking like it's in the cards for now. Yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of this album. I mean, it has an awesome cover, as Five Finger Death Punch albums tend to have, because their Knucklehead logo is one of the most badass logos in music history. But this album it needs quite a bit of work. Yeah. Anyway, moving on, because I just want to check and go over to make sure I haven't missed any. No, we're still good. Okay, so next one, is Parkway Drive with Reverence. An album that a lot of people were actually quite spotty on, and I actually found myself enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. I don't know what it is about Parkway Drive, but they seem to make albums that you don't think you'll enjoy, but you wind up enjoying. Okay, I knew I was going to love Deep Blue going in, I knew I was going to love Atlas going in. I didn't expect to like Aya as much as I did, and I especially didn't expect to like Reverence as much as I do, but it's a really good album. It's probably the most balanced bit of work. There's quite a bit of everything in there, and while Parkway Drive have said that they've transcended metalcore, I just think that they've matured it, personally. I feel like that's a level of metalcore that a lot of the band should strive towards. And it's still a really enjoyable, really good album at the end of the day. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I have a friend who was a big fan of Parkway Drive back when they were heavier, and even he has to admit that it took him a couple of listens for him to see all the good in this album, and there's quite a bit of good in this album, so yeah, just really enjoyable stuff. Next is Reef with Revelation, my first album by Reef, and they're first in 18 or 16 years. It's one of those two, but yeah, that's quite a big gap of time. And Reef are probably known for being a one-hit wonder for a song, the name of which I can't remember, ironically. But yeah, I thought it was just an okay album. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't super great. It was just, really, really good, sort of like old school rock sort of feel, which is very, very hard to do. It's very hard to listen to that kind of thing with modern eyes, modern ears rather. Sorry, you don't listen with your eyes, which like you don't see with your ears. But it's getting a bit dark out. But yeah, it was it was a good album. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was decent. It was okay, I guess. Next is Seven Dust with All I See Is War. I mean, Seven Dust is just really, really good anyway, so it does surprise me that they put out something equally as awesome. I don't think it's as good as Kill the Floor or Blackout the Sun was. I think Blackout the Sun, even though that wasn't my first Seven Dust album, it's still probably the best one in my opinion. But All I See Is War is definitely like good enough. Like, it's definitely better than Reef's Revelation. Just not as good as Seven Dust's previous two albums, but I still really, really liked it. Those just good, really, really good political themes as well. Next is Attention, Attention by Shinedown, which I talked about not long ago in a backtracking episode for Shinedown. And you all know I already love this album. It's got a great concept. It's produced well. It's handled correctly, which is nothing that I can say about Threat to Survival, which was just terrible. But everything, they got pretty much everything that they had to get right on Attention, Attention, and it all ties really, really well together. So yeah, I really enjoyed this album. Could be in the shortlist for my top 10 of this year. Who knows? Next, second to last one, actually, is Blood and Afron Stew by 2 Minute Minor. I think it's either their full debut or the second one, because I listened to their Goon's Best Friend EP, like, about a month before this album came out, and I enjoyed that, and, mostly because it uses clips from the movie Goon, which is one of my favourite movies of all time. Not only that, but this album itself, yeah, pretty awesome. Like, just some good old fast-paced Chicago hardcore punk. I mean, you don't really get that a whole lot these days, and it kind of sucks. But Chicago. Let me try that 3 times. Chicago is well known for its punk and hardcore scene. Like, it has a great scene. It has just a great scene of music in general. So yeah, I didn't expect anything less from a band that's from there. And 2 Minute Minor, really good stuff. And lastly is Violent Noise by The Word Alive. Not as good as Dark Matter in my opinion. I did still like this album. It goes to a lot of different places, and it's definitely a very more versatile and more accessible bit of work. I just wish it was a little bit heavy personally, but there is still quite a bit to enjoy about it, and yeah, well, it's not in my top 10, it's definitely still a good album, and definitely worth listening through. So, yeah, I mean, just while May wasn't as good as April in my opinion, because April had some great stuff, even an album I missed in The Spark That Moves by Cancer Bats. That's also an awesome album. Like, April was just a fucking great month in general, man. But May, well, not as good. It's still pretty awesome. It's sort of like the WrestleMania X8 to April's WrestleMania X7, in a way. And I've never watched either of those. That's just from my understanding. So, just really good stuff all around. And I'll see you most likely in a few days for my 2-part Alkaline Trio backtracking episode. Maybe not long after that for the next Ultimate Fighter. And then other stuff will happen, and the next music of the month will obviously happen in July, where it'll be a short episode because, holy crap, June is looking kind of barren. It looks really empty in terms of music. Well, in terms of music that I care about, like, there's 6 albums here. I'm not going to list them all because, I've wasted enough time, frankly. But I'll see you all in my next video, and I'll just end it, so I hope you enjoy this as well. So, thank you for listening. You're awesome. Bye-bye.